for joining us. I've assembled a panel to discuss the impending vote on Proposition K. For those of you not familiar, Prop K is a ballot measure that would pave the way for the state of Kentucky to annex the town of Breckenridge. The controversy centers on Breckenridge Distillery and its award-winning bourbon. Apparently, this bourbon is so good, it inspired Kentucky lawmakers to try and take control of the small Colorado distillery. Apparently, blue blood runs deep in this matter, as this proposition made it easily onto the November ballot. To kick off our discussion, I have invited world-renowned bourbon historian and expert, Dr. Isucketback Knightley. Doctor, thank you for joining us. Why all the fuss over a little whiskey?
Well, let me just stop you right there, Lauren. You see, it's not whiskey, it's bourbon. And it's not just any bourbon, it's some of the world's finest bourbon in the world.
Okay, Doctor, so we're talking about some very good bourbon. Still, to annex an entire town halfway across the country?
Oh, it's a classic bluff, Lauren. You see, the cat's stewing you. It's like having the right Glengarry but the wrong Glen Ross. They're just trying to make people remember where bourbon really comes from.
All right, well, what you said makes absolutely no sense. And Kentucky seems pretty serious.
Still, I don't see it. Kentuckians in Colorado? What are they going to do with a mountain? Kentucky don't ski.
Well, there are mountains in Kentucky.
Lauren, mountains in Kentucky? I don't think so.
Actually, there are. Never mind, moving on. I would also like to bring in hands-off our bourbon spokesperson, Joe Finizio. Mr. Finizio, your thoughts on the subject or anything Dr. Knightley said?
This is an outrage!
Would you care to elaborate?
This is outrageous.
All right then. Let's bring in State Senator Seifer Cutherland from the 14th District of Bourbon County in Kentucky. Senator, what do you hope to accomplish by annexing Breckenridge?
Well, it's not what we hope to accomplish, it's what we hope to gain, and that's bourbon. Brown gold, yes ma'am.
But don't you have plenty of your own bourbon, Senator?
Well, we want more.
But to get it, you're going to have to hold up a 150-year-old claim to the land.
Well, in Kentucky, we have an expression, I don't give a rat's ass.
Joe, care to add anything?
This is an outrageous outrage!
Finally, I'd like to bring in Special Counsel to the Attorney General's office, Jan Bolter. Ms. Bolter served 5 years as Assistant District Attorney in New York City, 5 more years as a lobbyist for PR firm Fisher Stevens, and was the spokesperson for the failed Nebraska 2008 Winter Olympic bid. Ms. Bolter, you seem awfully young for such a distinguished resume.
That's right.
Well, you've listened to what the others had to say. How do you weigh in?
It's quite simple, Lauren. This is just another classic case of bleeding heart liberals defecating on the Constitution and vomiting on the founding fathers of this country.
Well, I'm certainly more confused now than before we started. More after the break.
This is an outrage!
Someone get me a bourbon.